Now, it's been reported that migrants living in hotels, which are funded, of course, by you, the taxpayer, well, they're earning up to £1,500 a month by working illegally for delivery firms like Deliveroo or Just Eat.
Well, this is down to an investigation in the Mail on Sunday, and fast food giants, they claim, are hiring migrants illegally using a loophole, meaning they can use substitute drivers who are not vetted to work for them. So that'd be a case of someone sort of applying for the position, but then getting their mate, who's an illegal immigrant or whatever, to actually do the job.
Well, we're joined now by the leader of Reform UK, Richard Tice, who has said that these fast food giants should be ashamed of themselves, and he's calling on the government to pass urgent legislation to stop the practice. I mean, they shouldn't be doing it, for a start.
Very good morning. So this is an investigation that actually I've been working on with the Mail on Sunday. I discovered that there's a reason why many of the migrant hotels are empty during the day, because they're going to work. Now, many might say, well, that's a good thing, but are they paying any tax? No, what's happening is they are renting for between £50 to £70 a week cash accounts from British people who've got Deliveroo, Just Eat, Uber Eat type accounts, and then carrying out delivery work on bicycles and things, and earning themselves very, very good money. So those of you who use these delivery companies, I've never actually used one, about 40 to 50% of the time, the person you're told will deliver your request is not the person who actually delivers it. And most people don't. Look, you're just so grateful to get your pizza
so
or
what
your delivery.
Is it a little arrangement between the person who should be delivering it? So it's an arrangement
between the person with the official account and they are basically renting it. If you go onto Facebook or all sorts of other things, you can rent these accounts for 50 to 70 quid. But if you can legally get an account, if you're qualified, lawfully working, that costs you nothing, why would you pay someone 50 to 70 pounds a week in order to use someone else's account? There can be only one reason, and that is you haven't got the right to work. You're working illegally. And
what happens on the tax basis then?
They pay no tax.
But who's getting?
So what's happening is the bank account of the person with the lawful account, they get paid through the delivery companies, and then they meet up with the person who's actually done it, the illegal migrant, and they pay them their percentage that they've earned. Here's the thing, though. What it's doing is it's depressing the wages of British workers who were previously doing this work. So I spoke to someone who was earning £170, £180 a day. A migrant hotel suddenly arrives in the town, and all of a sudden, the migrants are doing this job, and the rate per day plummets to about £50 a day. So the British workers are basically saying, well, it's not worth my while, I might as well sign on benefits. It's completely unfair because, of course, these people, they pay no tax, they've got no costs. So within a couple of weeks of arriving, they're buying an electric bike so they can deliver faster. It's a huge industry-wide scandal. And the delivery companies, they know it's going on, and yet they allow it to carry on. They know they've deliberately set up these substitute accounts, but there should be no need for any substitute accounts. If that's your chosen work, then you can set up an account legally within a matter of a week.
Well,
Why wouldn't you?
Frankly, I mean, when it comes to safety issues, it's a bit like an Uber. You know, it's for safety reasons. You get a message saying, "This is your Uber driver is so and so," and there's, well, if you get in the car and it's not them, you'd have something to worry about. Well, if the food you're ordering is being delivered by someone who isn't pictured on the app...
So I would say to anybody who gets a delivery, next time you get it, check who's supposed to deliver it, and then actually look at who arrives and does deliver it. And I suspect 40 to 50% of the time, it'll be someone else. And look, it's a huge... I think there's tens and tens and tens of thousands of people working illegally. It's a cost to all of us. It's bad for British workers. It's bad for the Treasury. And it acts as a magnet for more people to come here.
Yeah, how does the delivery company, though, check up on this? Because they're doing everything remotely, aren't they?
They are doing everything remotely. It's very simple. They should just scrap all of these substitute accounts. There's no need, if you are a lawful working person, then you set up your own account. It's incredibly simple. If you scrap the substitute accounts, a lot of this issue will disappear. And I think it's an absolute scandal that these big multinational companies, they're making more profits out of it, by the way, because as they're paying their delivery drivers, the illegal workers, they're paying them less, so they're charging more, so they're making more of a profit margin.
Why are they paying them less?
because there are so many of them in a town living in a migrant hotel, they press the button to accept the job quicker, so automatically
it automatically
starts to reduce the pricing. And that's what's happened over the last 2 years.
Is there an argument, though, in all of this? It's like whether you think through this investigation this should all be cracked down on and banned, or does it fuel the argument to say, even if you're seeking asylum in this country, you should be allowed to work and therefore contribute to the Treasury?
If you run that argument, then you say, well, in which case you obviously should pay tax in the way that all of us pay tax. Perfectly legitimate route to discuss. But if you allow asylum seekers to work, you act as a greater magnet for ever more to come illegally across the channel. That's the key issue. I mean, fundamentally, we all know what the government should be doing. The Home Office is processing people literally within 2 weeks that they used to do 20 years ago, and then this wouldn't be an issue. But when you've got people who are here for 1 to 2 years, then look, it's a bigger debate. It's because of the incompetence of the Home Office. But it's an absolute outrage, because ordinary folk in towns up and down the country are being massively disadvantaged by this. And it's literally illegal working in plain sight of all of us.
Yeah, but hold on a minute. If ultimately, with the substitute issue, if ultimately the company is saying, well, you can have a substitute, therefore we know we're paying you to pay a substitute, so they are knowingly paying these substitutes, right? And the substitute doesn't have right to work, which you're meant to check, then can't they be prosecuted?
No, because what they do, they say that responsibility for checking the right to work is from the original account holder, not the company. That's how they're getting away with it. And so the original account holder doesn't have to say to the delivery company, I've got a substitute working for me today or tomorrow. So the simple way, and it's incredibly straightforward, the government could insist on it this week and just say no substitute accounts, they're all scrapped, it's all stopped, and that would be the right thing to do for British people, British workers, British taxpayers.
But do you know, no matter how you look at it, there's going to be an outcry, because instead what you're saying to all of these illegal immigrants who are waiting to be processed, but as you just pointed out, waiting for a very long time indeed, you're just saying again to them, you can't do anything meaningful or productive, you've just got to sit and wait. It's a sort of pretty cold-hearted attitude as well.
Look, we all know the Home Office has got to get on with it. They've got to process people. What we discovered last week, of course, is actually their way of processing people is just, if they don't turn up for 2 interviews, they just take them off the list. So they've lost 17,000 people. But again, you see, that means you've got 17,000 people never with a lawful right to work who will be going through this illegal working, and on it goes.
Yeah.
It requires competence at the Home Office, fundamentally.
It requires joined-up thinking, doesn't it, as well? And
yeah, it doesn't have to go that far. I mean, this is not rocket science, it's just basic common sense.
Well, that's what I think gets people's goat with a lot of this sort of stuff, that it isn't rocket science. It should be straightforward. It should be easy to solve. It should be also easy to make sure it never happened in the first place.
Completely. And 20 years ago, you didn't have these huge lists. You still had lots of people coming illegally, mainly through lorries then, through the tunnel on the ferries. But they were processed rapidly. They had a right to appeal. That was dealt with rapidly. Sometimes you had someone processed and the appeal done within 3 or 4 weeks. Job done, decision made, move on.
That's how it should be.
And that's how it should be. That's what everybody expects.
You said you've been working with the Mail on Sunday on this investigation. How did you even get into it?
Very good question. It was back in the summer, and I was a whistleblower who works in one of these hotels, and I'll be talking about this in detail because I'm hosting Nigel's show at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. So we've got lots more detail on this, some more video footage. And so we got rung up, so we met and we investigated it, and then one thing led to another. And you know what it's like? You turn the first page and suddenly you unravel a complete sort of nest of extraordinary illegality, and on it goes. And it's in fast food shops and things. Then you've got car washes, and on it goes. And barber shops and candy shops. The quantity of illegal working across the UK is totally off the scale. And everybody knows it, but no one's doing anything about it.
No.
And it's the British taxpayer and low-paid British workers who suffer the most.
Well, look, we reached out to those delivery companies, and we're still waiting for a response. In regards to this, Deliveroo has previously said, we have introduced facial recognition technology, which will help to counter any abuse on the platform, and we plan to strengthen this further with a registration process and right-to-work checks for substitutes.
Just Eat said self-employed independent couriers have the legal right to use a substitute under the UK's employment laws. The account holder is responsible for ensuring their substitute meets the necessary standards to deliver on our network.
And then there's Uber Eats, who have said all couriers must pass a criminal background check, be over the age of 18 and hold a valid right to work in the UK. So that's Uber Eats, Just Eat and Deliveroo all said they were working closely with the government and that any courier found to not meet their criteria would immediately be removed from their network.